Good morning students. In this video we are going to discuss about history chapter number 4 literary heritage of India. In previous chapter we have discussed about sculpture and architecture of India, in which you have to remember these two definitions. And what is the main difference between two definitions is, in a sculpture there is a feeling or give a facial expression by artist. Okay, whenever you see sculpture, then it is quite a look like that they have a facial expression, giving facial expression or have some feeling. But in architecture, whatever we built like mosque, temple, tomb, etc., which is considered to be the in a architecture point of view, Okay, so this is the main difference between sculpture and architecture, in which we have discussed about first India's cultural heritage, then and after Gujarat cultural heritage. Okay, whatever we seen about India's cultural heritage, it is some, first of all, stupa, second is caves, then and after South India's temple architecture. Here is a two difference between the style of architecture, particularly North India, and second is South India. So, North India's architecture style is mostly Nagar style. North India's architectural style is mostly a Nagar type of style, while South India's architectural style is mostly Dravidian style. And what is the difference between these two style is, in a Nagar architectural style, they mostly focused on temples or the architecture of temples, while South India's architectural style, more you can say Dravidian style, mostly focused on a Gopuram, or other term you can say a entrance. Okay, South Indian style mostly focused on a Gopuram or entrance, while North India's architectural style is mostly focused on the architecture of a temples. Okay, this is the main difference between these two styles. Okay, in a first chapter we have discussed only a heritage of India. Then in second chapter we have discussed heritage of India, but particularly specifically in terms of some art and culture terms, means art and architecture. Third is sculpture and architecture, and fourth, now we will discuss about literary heritage of India. Okay, so literary means, a name suggested that literary means whatever things which is written by our ancestor that we can write or read today is known as a literary heritage of India. Man took help of expression, symbol, drawing, sound to communicate his thought, idea, feelings and emotions to other. Whenever there is no dialect, no development of dialects, here written also dialects, whenever there is no development of dialects and script, then how the people of the how mostly ancient people communicate through expressions, symbol, drawing and sound. But then and after consequently there is a invention of dialects, means जो हम बोलते हैं वो, और script means जो हम लिखते हैं वो. This script contributed to the development of language. Whatever script written by the ancestor is mostly development, or the development behind the dialects is mostly a script. Over a period of time, language was being used for expression of thoughts. Okay, then and after, language was being used for whatever men express. Today, whatever we are express is mostly through our dialects, or whatever we are speaking is our expression of thoughts. Next, the constructive use of language lead to creation of literature. Then and after, they construct a different language and made up of a literature. Okay. Next, from ancient time, Indian literature is known for its diversity and uniqueness. We all know that whenever Britishers came in 1600 in India, then they were not directly came to India. First of all, they translate one India's book Manusmriti into English, and then and after they know that they found that India's weakness, there is a no seen, means Britisher cannot be seen the unity in the Indian people, and then and after we all know that they mostly ruled over India since 1947. So, from ancient time, Indian literature is a very famous and known for its diversity and uniqueness. Next, Indian scholars divided ancient literature into Vedic and classical. Okay. Someone asked question that Indian literature can be divided into how many types? Two. First is Vedic and second is a classical literature. Like dance form, first is a classical dance form and second is a folk dance. Okay, like that, first is a Vedic literature and second is a classical literature. Besides this, some folk literature was also popular. Means folk literature means some special regions or some special states, different folk literature is also present. So, when we sum up this paragraph, then this paragraph is said that today whatever we are expressed or whatever we are speaking or communicating is mostly through our dialects and through the scripts. Okay. And Indian ancient literature can be divided into two types. First is a Vedic and second is a classical literature. Besides this, there is some folk literature was also popular. Next paragraph, language and literature. So, if we quickly look at the history, we can see there an emergence of variety of language since century. And one thing, most of the language is developed from the Sanskrit language. Our Gujarati is also developed from the Sanskrit language. So, this language influenced one another and it resulted in development of a literature. As a result, some new languages and literature have developed and flourished. Means, from whenever one and another language is influenced to each other or one another, then and after languages and literature have been developed and flourished. The best example of this is Sanskrit language. Here, best example is a Sanskrit language. Sanskrit language is less in use in a present time, but religious ceremonies and worshipping rituals are dealt in a Sanskrit language. Today we are not oftenly speaking Sanskrit language, but in a religious ceremony or in a worshipping rituals are dealt, or they mostly use the Sanskrit language. Most of the Vedas have also been written in Sanskrit language and performed today also in a Sanskrit language. Next, generally language provides opportunity for the humans for better expression and understanding. Means suppose we have no any language, then how we communicate with each other, and today in a world there is too many language of different countries are present, like Spanish, France, Germans and different types of language, but we communicate only through one or two language, which language we have already known. So, from generally language provides opportunity, means if we know the language properly, then we can also perform better expression and understanding the other man's thing. India's most ancient script is that of Harappan civilization. From Harappa, most ancient script is found, but it couldn't be sold. Why? Because whatever written or the language written on this script is not sold by the archaeologist. Okay. So, next, which has not been deciphered. Deciphered means we couldn't solve it, and so we have not obtained much information about their language. Okay. In previous chapter we have discussed whatever road, drainage, public transport and whatever other things we have already discussed, but which language can be used by Harappan civilization or the people who lived in Harappa or Mohenjo-daro or Indus Valley civilization, we have not obtained much information about their languages. Important question. Maharshi Panini was a great Sanskrit grammarian. The most important book of this time is Maharshi Panini's Ashtadhyayi. You have to remember, Ashtadhyayi was written by Maharshi Panini. Next, which is a noteworthy book of Sanskrit grammar of 4th century? Sanskrit is considered the language of Aryans, or mostly Aryans developed this type of Sanskrit language, and they also use the Sanskrit language in their daily use. Language of sects or language of scholars. So, Sanskrit is considered to be the language of sects or language of scholars. It has been accepted by all at the international level that Sanskrit is the best language for a computer use. Means world already accept that Sanskrit is the best language for the computer use. Sanskrit was the chief language for knowledge, science, religion and philosophy. From this paragraph you have to remember only one thing is Maharshi Panini's Ashtadhyayi, which is very or most famous book written by them. Next, ancient Indian literature. So, in which first is Veda. Ved means knowledge and they are 4. What is the meaning of Veda? To know something or to gain something through the knowledge, and they are mostly 4. You have to remember this because many times boards ask question from this portion. How many Vedas are there? So, first there are 4 Vedas: Rigved, Samved, Yajurved and Atharvaved. First is Rigveda. So, Rigved is the most ancient work of Indian literature. It consists 1028 verses. Verses means today we have, or we can say that a simple slok. It is a wonderful work divided into 10 division. Okay, divided into 10 division, and it has also consists of a 1028 verses or a slok. Most of the verses are prayers of God. Means whatever verses or slok is mostly to perform the prayers of God. They were used during the Yagna. Mostly Rigvedas, most of the verses is used during the Yagna. Among the verses, those worshipping Usha are fascinating. Means Usha means जो वर्शिपिंग मीन्स सूर्य की जो पूजा करने के श्लोक है वो बहुत ही फेमस है। दिस वर्क डिस्क्राइब पॉलिटिकल, सोशल एंड रिलीजियस मैटर्स ऑफ आर्यन। सो you have to remember this in the Rig Veda is it can be divided into 10 divisions and 1028 verses consisting in Rig Veda. Second, it is used during yagnas, and last line it describe political, social and religious matter of Aryan who residing in the region of a Saptasindhu. Saptasindhu is also called as a Indus Valley civilization. Okay, Sapt means 7 river जो वहाँ पे थी, that's why it is given name as a Saptasindhu. Okay, next is a Samved. 3 other Vedas were also composed after Rig Veda. First of all, the Ved which is composed is Rig Veda. After Rig Veda, 3 other Ved, Samved, Yajurved and Atharved also consist or formed. Out of them, Samved was composed to focus on the process of recitation of verses. Means इसमें जो श्लोक है वो आप बोल भी सकते हैं, लेकिन सामवेदा मोस्टली कंसिस्ट द प्रोसेस ऑफ रिसाइटिंग ऑफ रेसिटेशन ऑफ वर्सेस। मीन्स इसमें मोस्टली आपको सिंगिंग गाने का ही होता है। एंड इट इज ऑल्सो नोन एज द गंगोत्री ऑफ म्यूजिक। वेरी फेमस क्वेश्चन मोस्टली आस्क्ड फ्रॉम हियर, which Veda is known as the Gangotri of music? So answer is a Samveda. Next, Yajurved. It is called a Veda of Yagna. Okay, Yajurved why? Yagna why? It is called a Veda of Yagna. It is composed in both forms, prose and verse. Means आप इसको सिंग गा भी सकते हो और उसको बोल भी सकते हो। This describes the hymns recited at the time of yagna, the religious practice and rituals. इसमें जो भी लिखा है, hymns means श्लोक, वो है वो यज्ञ के टाइम पे आप उसको बोल सकते हो। So mostly Yajurveda why? Yagna why? So Yajurveda is mostly composed because of the perform the rituals during the yagna. And last, Atharva Veda. Many scholars didn't count Atharva Veda as a Ved because why? Because Atharva Veda describes various types of rituals and sanskar. These 3 Veda, Rig Veda, Samved and Yajurveda is mostly or popularly you can say developed or composed through perform rituals in yagna, but Atharva Veda describe the various types of rituals and vidhis and sanskars. That's why many scholars didn't count Atharva Veda as a Ved. Last, Upanishad. The Upanishadic literature gives us a vivid description and analysis of the beginning of the universe. Means universe जो अर्थ है वो कैसे बनी, उसका फुल डिस्क्रिप्शन वॉज गिवन बाय दिस उपनिषद। द मिस्टीरियस लाइफ ऑफ लाइफ एंड डेथ, हम कैसे जन्म लेते हैं, कैसे मरते हैं। मटेरियलिस्टिक एंड स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड, बृहदारण्य एंड छंदोग्य आर द अर्लीएस्ट ऑफ उपनिषद इन द डायलॉग फॉर्म। सबसे पहले 2 Upanishad were written, in which first is Brihadaranya and Chandogya was written. And you have to remember this, how many Upanishad are there? So answer is 108, emergency number. Okay, they are 108 in all as mentioned in the Muktiko Upanishad. Okay, so 2 or 3 marks question came from here. Describe the Vedas, describe the 4 Vedas. So you have to write this, but in Upanishad you have to remember this, only a 108 Upanishad which is mentioned in a Muktiko Upanishad. And this Upanishad considering 108, and out of 108 one famous is a Katha निषद, उसमें फेमस पर्सन नचिकेता की स्टोरी है। ओके, नचिकेता एंड फादर। व्हेनेवर यू वेंट टू अक्षरधाम, देन at the night there is a one water show was held. So this water show is showing the story of this Nachiketa and his father. Okay, स्टोरी कुछ ऐसी है कि जब नचिकेता है, जब उसके फादर है वो कुछ दान करते हैं, तो वो जो गाय होती है, वो जो बीमार गाय होती है, जो उसके काम में कुछ नहीं आ सकती, वो गाय का दान करते हैं। ओके, तो नचिकेता बोलता है कि आप ऐसी गाय का क्यों दान करते हो? अगर किसी को दान देना है तो आप अच्छा ही देना चाहिए। ओके, सो नचिकेता के फादर है वो बहुत ही गुस्से में थे और बोला कि जा, अभी मैं भी तुझको दान देता हूँ, मुझे तू भी चाहिए नहीं। ओके, फिर नचिकेता वहाँ से घर से निकल जाते हैं और एट दैट टाइम हिज एज इज ओनली 11 years एंड ही वेंट इन द सर्चिंग ऑफ यमराज। सो वो यमराज के पास जाते हैं और यमराज को कई सारे क्वेश्चन करते हैं जो इस एज में पॉसिबल थे नहीं, जो उसको समझ थी इस एज में वो कोई भी बच्चे में थी नहीं। वो बोलता है कि हम जन्म कैसे लेते हैं वो समझाओ, मृत्यु का मीनिंग क्या होता है। ओके, वो सब डिफरेंट टाइप्स के क्वेश्चन है वो इसमें नचिकेता यमराज को पूछते हैं। सो Upanishad 108 mentioned in Muktiko Upanishad, and you have to remember that this three Veda is mostly formed on the basis of Rig Veda. Means many verses have been, whatever verses is it, Samveda, Yajurveda, Atharvaveda is mostly taken from the Rig Veda in itself. So Rig Veda is the, you can say this is the father and this is the of Rig Veda's son. Okay, next our topic is Brahmanical literature. Okay, next means this literature is mostly belong to or used by the Brahmans. Okay, and it is very difficult to understand for the common people. Okay, many Brahmanical epics were composed to understand the meaning of a Vedic literature. There were many Brahmanical literature also composed for the purpose of a Vedic literature. Any critical appreciation based on Vedas composed in the poetic form are included in Brahmanical literature. Vedic literature and directive principles regarding behavior have been explained broadly. What is Vedic literature? This line is important only. Vedic literature and what is directive principle of behavior, means how man to behavior with others, is explained very broadly in this Brahmanical literature. So first is Aranyaks. So Aranya means jungle. One, Aranyaks is mostly developed to understand the Upanishad. Aranyaks is mostly developed to understand Upanishad. और आरण्यक में इतना संस्कृत डीप में लिखा होता है कि जो हमारी सिंपल लिविंग है, या जो यहाँ पे हम रहते हैं उसमें रह के इसको पढ़ पाना और समझ पाना, टू अंडरस्टैंडिंग और रीडिंग दिस आरण्यक इन अ लिविंग विथ अ सिंपल पीपल इज अ डिफिकल्ट. दैट्स व्हाई आर्यन used to spend their last phase of life in Aranyak. Aranyak means jungles. Making their ashram in Aranyak's forest, they composed literature based on a philosophy which was the result of their deep thinking. It is known as a Aranyak. मैंने अभी बताया क्या होता है. Who developed Aranyaks? So if you not remembering easily, then this is one trick. Aranya or Aryans, this is mostly similar to one another. Okay. Next, Vedangs. The Vedangs literature deals with the religious practices and rituals, grammar, astrology and astronomy. Vedangs means this is mostly developed और यूज्ड इन रिलीजियस प्रैक्टिसेस, रिचुअल्स, जो यज्ञ में जो विधि होती है उसमें, ग्रामर मीन्स वॉट एवर टूडे वी स्टडीड इज डेवलप फ्रॉम दिस वेदांग. एस्ट्रोलॉजी मीन्स स्काई देख के बताना कि बारिश होगी नहीं होगी. एंड एस्ट्रोनॉमी जो हमारा ज्योतिष शास्त्र, हाथ देख के बताते हैं. ओके, दिस इज डेवलप फ्रॉम द वेदांग्स. Aranyaks developed by Aryans. Okay, whatever we studied in this chapter is mostly you have to remember for the purpose of your objective, MCQ, blanks and from a one-liner purpose. Okay, except last 3 point which is Vidyapit, Vallabhi, Nalanda, and last is a Takshashila. Okay, this can be asked in a 3 or 4 marks question, but before that you have to remember with only or deals with the MCQ objective or so whenever you see this video you simply underline whatever here I underline. Next, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata are two great Indian epics. In 2018, board asked question from here, write about the longest Indian epics. So they didn't or they directly not asked about Mahabharata. So firstly you have to remember this, which is the longest or great Indian epics is Mahabharata. So Ramayana and Mahabharata is the great Indian epics. The present form of these epics can be traced back to the 2nd century. This too is written in 2nd century. The Ramayana is the story of Ramchandra, the king of Ayodhya. अयोध्या के राजा थे जो बाद में क्या है वनवास, उसको 14 ईयर का वनवास मिलता है. The Ramayana is the smaller epic than the Mahabharata. It narrates many attractive stories of adventure. The Mahabharata is the world's largest epic, has 1 lakh verses. Okay, not only India. Apart from this, Mahabharata is the world's largest epic and has 1 lakh verses. This describes the war between Kaurav and Pandav. We all know that about Ramayana and Mahabharata. So beside it also consists of a numerous stories. Okay, beside there is a war, we all know that, but beside that there is also consisting of a numerous story. The Bhagavad Gita part of Mahabharata expound the deep philosophical principle. जो महाभारत है उसमें से ही गीता निकली हुई है. ओके, तब it conveys the message of achieving moksha or salvation through ज्ञान, कर्म and भक्ति. मोक्ष की प्राप्ति है वो कैसे होती है? ज्ञान जो हम जानते हैं वो, कर्म जो हम करते हैं और भक्ति which is also a part of this. Okay, we all know that Kaurav were 100 and Pandav were also only 5, but one person, Krishna, at that time only Arjun can only know that the Krishna was a god, and at the other side from the Kaurav there is 100 Kauravs are there and exact क्या है powerful थे. Then and after Kaurav lose this battle very badly and we all know that about this. Okay, next, both the epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, have been influencing millions of Indian and the literature for a long time. Means today we also seen the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, okay, in terms of serial types, but this influence in terms of a literature or philosophical to all the Indian people. They have implemented sanskar in the Indians, means रामायण है वो प्योरली संस्कार बेस्ड है, ओके, जो हमको संस्कार प्रोवाइड करती है. During this period of Sanskrit literature was produced which contained a good combination of religious and worldly aspects of life. The Purans played an important role in explaining initial Vedic literature. When anyone or any scholar want to express the initial Vedic religion, then they have to focus on Puran. During this period, many scriptures and Smruti Granth were composed, like Manusmruti, Brahasmruti, etc. These scriptures dealt with science and philosophy. This scripture is mostly dealt with philosophical idea, deep philosophical idea. For example, Kautilya's Arthashastra is a book of management, as well as a book on various topics such as art, mathematics and other sciences. This Kautilya is the minister of Chandragupta Maurya. This Kautilya is minister of Chandragupta Maurya. Other name of this Kautilya is Chanakya, Kautilya in itself, and Vishnugupta. Okay. So, one book written by Kautilya is Arthashastra. Today it is also helpful to understand the Indian economy, or whatever development needs to Indian economy is prescribed in this Arthashastra book. So, you have to remember Kautilya's Arthashastra. In first page we have studied that Panini's Astadhyayi. So, you have to also remember this Panini's Astadhyayi and Arthashastra of Kautilya. Okay. Next, the Smruti Granth as explained the religious teachings, law and customs. Okay. Smruti Granth explained religious teaching, laws and customs. Next, the earlier Buddhist literature was written in Pali. Most important question. The Buddhist literature was written in Pali, while Jain literature was written in Prakrit language. At that time, Prakrit and Pali was developed, and Prakrit was the most famous because most of the people can understand this language as compared Pali, because Pali is little bit difficult to understand. So, the earlier Buddhist literature was written in Pali. As it is divided into three sections, it is known as a Tripitaka. Buddhist literature is mostly composed or consists in a Tripitaka. It consists of Sukta Pitaka, Vinay Pitaka and Abhidhamma Pitaka. Sukta Pitaka is composed or written in this what is written in this Sukta Pitaka is, if any person want to join or follow Buddhist or Buddhism, then whatever the ideas or how they can join, what is the process of joining Buddhism is written in this Sukta Pitaka. Firstly, they join Buddhism, then what types of Vinay or what types of Vinay they have to follow is written in a Vinay Pitaka and Abhidhamma Pitaka. Whatever the preaching means उपदेश, जो भी उपदेश बुद्ध ने दिया था वो अभिधम्म पिटक में कंपोज किया है. सुक्त पिटक, विनय पिटक एंड अभिधम्म पिटक consisting known as a Tripitaka. Besides, many other works were also composed in Buddhist literature. Gupta period was known as the golden period for the growth and development of Sanskrit. poems and dramas. In chapter number 3 we have already seen that Gupta period. You have also underlined this because many times asked which period is known as the golden period in terms of Sanskrit poems and dramas. So answer is Gupta period. The great writers like Kalidas, Bhavbhuti, Bharvi, Bhartuhari, Banbhat, Manga and many other belong to this period. Out of this, Kalidas is known all over the world. What was the work of Kalidas? First, Kumar Sambhav, Raghuvansham, Meghdut, Abhigyan, Shakuntalam and Ritu Samhara renowned for their best poetic and dramatic style. These all are written by Kalidas in terms of a dramatic style. Ban wrote the Kadambari. This is equally important. Ban wrote Kadambari and Harsh Charit, a biography of King Harsh. King Harsh, after the death of their father Bhaskar Varman, King Harsh came to be ruled at the age of only 9 years. Okay, so this is considered to be the सबसे जो स्मॉलेस्ट और छोटा राजा जो कि रूलिंग करने आता है एट द एज ऑफ ओनली 9 years and name is Harsh. So Band wrote 2 book on this. First is a Kadambari और poetic style and second is a Harsh Charit जो biography है हर्ष की. Other work of this period Bhavbhutis, Uttar Ramcharit, Bharvis, Kirata, Junium, Visakha Mudra Rakshas. So also underline this. Bhavbhutis, Uttar Ramcharit, Bharvis, Kiratarjuniam, Visakha Mudra Rakshas, Sudraksh, Mrichakatikam and Dandis. Thus Kumar Charita was also a famous work which is, and this all belong to the which period? Gupta period. Next, verses were composed in earlier form Gujarati language. Verses means श्लोक है वो गुजराती लैंग्वेज में भी बने थे. In the course of time, Gujarati language developed and many literary works were composed in it. After the time of Sanskrit language, Gujarati was also developed and decipherated from a Sanskrit language. So, means many literary works were also composed in Gujarati. The heritage of Gujarati literature was made prosperous by literary contribution of Narsi Mehta, very famous Narsi Mehta, Mirabai, Dayaram, Akho, Premchand, Pritam and others who composed beautiful verses, song, garba, narrative poems and chappa, etc. Okay, the chappa of Akha's chappa is also came in your Gujarati book, is very famous. After that, the scholars like Narmad, Navalram, Kishore Lal Masruwala, Pannalal Patel, Umashankar Joshi, Mahipatram Rupram Nilkant, Govardhan Ram Tripathi and other enriched the Gujarati literature through their work. Means this is not important for our exam purpose. Next topic is Dravidian language. First we have Sanskrit, which is mostly developed in North India. Then after Gujarati, which is developed in Middle India, or lastly Dravidian, which is developed in South India. For Dravidian language, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada and Malayalam, which is easy to remember. Tamil, Telugu, Kannada and Malayalam. Developed their own script and literature. Tamil is the oldest of this. Out of this four, Tamil is considered to be the oldest language. Okay, you have to remember this line also. According to traditions, 3 literary gatherings and sangam were held at which many sects and poets recited their composition. 3 संगम, संगम मीन्स जहाँ पे साधु संत मिलते हैं, वो 3 टाइम हुआ था और उसमें कई सारे शेख साधु संत ने पार्टिसिपेट लिया और उसने कुछ कंपोजिशन भी बनाई। They contain many themes like political, war and love. Politics, today it is very famous. Politics means how to rule the country or a state, is written by this very famous Shakes in an ancient time. Today you have studied this book giving the idea how to rule the country or how to be ruled the country or a state. Next, on the war and lastly love. The famous works of this body of literature include Itu Thokkai, means his name is in Tamil language, that's why Itu Thokkai's meaning is composition of 8 poems. The Tolkappiyam, which is grammar book, and Pathu Pattu means the composition of 10 songs. Next, Thiruvallur wrote the famous Kurai. Important, Thiruvallur wrote the famous Kurai, which in verse deal with many aspects of life and religion. Thiruvallur wrote one famous book Kurai, which is useful to understand their life and religion. Silpadikaram and Mani Mekhla are some of the most famous work of early Tamil literature. So you have to remember 3 things: Itu Thokkai, composition of 8 poems; Tolkappiyam, grammar book; and Pathu Pattu, composition of 10 songs. And Thiruvallur also wrote one famous book Kurai. Okay, this is the end of our video. This medieval literature we will see in our next lecture.